Alrighty everybody, I haven't done a video in a while and I got my nephew here with me. There he is. Say hello, Brandon.
How you doing?
Alright. Anyways, like I say, I ain't done a video in a while and I said, you know what? I got him with me. I think I should do a toolbox tour. What do you think? Let's do a toolbox tour. Come on. Alright, so we got my little, this is my work desk. Got a little, this is a McCulloch. Yeah. Anyways, work on that. I got these little drawers here. There's my boobies. I got some spark plugs in there. These are all spark plug drawers. Little adjustment tools in here for 2-cycle barbs. Little cleaners. The little tools for adjusting the needles. Empty. Some little seals in there. It's trash. And this one over here, a little bit of epoxy in there. Some little miscellaneous wire crap. That soldering gun, helping hand. And over here I got, this is all my 2-cycle gasket kits. You know, K10, RB, 60, whatever. Different gaskets, little miscellaneous bolts and stuff for carburetors, whatever in there. Briggs & Stratton kits, valve cover gaskets for your Briggs. Some of that crap. And these are all little bolts and nuts washers, little things. I think in here I got some starter pawls. There's the other little packs of them, whatever, for steel and Husqvarna, everything pretty much. You know, pins, the fork, spark plugs, wire, pull rope. Yeah, and then over here's fuses, terminals, all kinds of stuff like that. I got some drill bit sharpener. I got to sharpen my drill bits here, but here's my little I can't think of ultrasonic cleaner. Yeah, couldn't think of what it was called. So this is where I sit. I work on stuff. I got miscellaneous crap in there. Over here I got plenty of caps in case I got to plug something off. Some solenoids in there, key switches, fuses, little bitty stuff like that. Bottom of the drawer is pretty much the same. I use this guy here. This is from Harbor Freight. And it's use that for sharpening a chainsaw. It just goes right on there and turns on, and there you go. That's just easy done, works, simple. Yeah. So I got some of the stuff here to work on. Waiting on parts for this stuff down here on the floor. It's a little messy, but I clean up about the end of the month, every month. Yeah, so now let's do a little tour of this fella. The red one over there is just extra sockets, some in these bars, some that's just the overfill toolbox over there. But yeah, I'll get Bubby over here and I'll have him hold the camera for me and we'll see what's in there. Okay, Bubby, so where do you think we should start? This drawer, this drawer. Let's start with the top of the box. Okay, yeah. So here's a laptop. This mouse is freaking amazing. Just so smooth in the hand.
Yeah.
Hold it straight. Because otherwise people are going to be watching. They're like, nyeh. They're going to have to tilt their head and everything. Sure. It's just really going to suck. But laptop, and now this is where I have all my, I got here, got a rotary, RBI, Amazon, whatever. I got to look up stuff, parts list, put all that in. Also, I got music on in the background, Nerve, Bad Habits, give you a little taste. Okay, can't play much because copyright, but behind the laptop, one more Apple Watch. I just picked these up yesterday. Matco was around and I traded in my old T handles that were Matco for these. These are pretty sweet there. Pretty sweet gig. Slide. slide. This thing's freaking awesome. So there's the metrics, metric hex, Torx, SAE hex with the holders. They came with the little holders for them. Pretty nice little sets. They're about, if you buy them outright, I think they're like $170 a piece ish, $160, somewhere around there. And little cars and stuff, you know. Gotta have my whatevers, whatnots. That's a piggy bank. That's pretty cool. Keep all my change in there. But you can come over here. I got these are for the Briggs & Stratton plastic carburetors. Let's see if I got one here. I think this might, nope, that's not one. That's not one. I do, I'm pretty sure I got one of those carbs. Yeah, right here. So these plastic Briggs carbs, these carbs are, I love these carbs because they don't deteriorate. They don't like rust and stuff. You know, the brass in them will, but they just work. They last. These, there's part number 596523. I think that's the rotary part number. But these things are, you know, a couple $5 a piece, something like that. It's easier to just replace this whole piece, pull the carburetor apart, pull this out, put a new one in, done. Carburetor's done. And put it back on and it's gonna run. $5, you just fixed it. This is that's a cam gear for Briggs. Cam shaft, I should say, because these are famous for this little tab down here on the bottom. Just because how Briggs is cheaply made. This little, that right there, that little pin breaks constantly on these single cylinder Briggs, and you got to start as turns, hard start, turns, hard. So if he ever does that, that's your issue there. I think I've done a video on one of those, maybe. If not, I will here shortly, because that's what that's for. These are, the guy was selling stuff out of the back of his truck, wanting to start a tool business or something, I guess. I don't know. But I think I gave 20 bucks for these. A little overpriced, but helping the guy out. About both the kits he had. These are nice. They hold a lot of plastic stuff on. Your Kawasaki's, your Briggs, your cars. I mean, you know, you can never have enough clips. And here's some fuel shutoffs, different kind of shutoffs, fuel filters. These kind of fuel, you know, just different ones. I got a couple fuel pumps in here. Here's a rotary one. Those kind of fuel pumps. That's pretty nice. Just leave those in here. You know, there's some Echo carburetors over here. In here I got different little fuel caps. I think I bought this little thingy at Walmart. It's pretty cheap. Bowls and floats and stuff. Little miscellaneous carburetor pieces there. Sometimes it's accurate. Yeah, little miscellaneous linkages, stuff like that. Some foam. I don't know why I have that, but it's there. Yeah, there you go, bub. How about that for a freeze plug? Don't know why I have it. There it is. Anyways, that's that. There's carburetors in these bottom drawers. You know, so battery. I use that for all kind of stuff. Also have, come over here, this little guy here puts out 13 volts, so I could use this, set a clutch or something on my desk, test out the clutch, stands that plug into it. You know, it's a little tester thing there. Little tablet. I'll use this for the Kawasaki EFIs because it's Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or whatever it is, so I use this to read everything as I'm sitting on it. So yeah, there's all that. Up here's all like lubes, oils, stuff like that, whatnot. Something just bit me in my butt. Something every mechanic always needs. You gotta have some Vaseline. You just good for seals and stuff, you know, putting something in. You gotta put something on there really good, you know. Yeah, that's something you gotta have. Another good thing, this is pretty neat, Sure Shot. I put gas in mine, pressurize it. Saves a bunch of money on buying starting fluid. So there's that. I use that almost on a daily basis. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we'll get to the toolbox now. Which one should we do first?
We'll do the top one.
The top one? This one?
Yeah.
This one? Okay. Zoom in. You gotta show everybody my little dinosaur with 500 teeth. If you know what that is, you know what that is. All right, you ready? Oh. All right, so yeah, I've spent stupid money on all this for working on small engines. You don't have to do what I do. You know, Harbor Freight's good, but I bought this stuff. I wanted all this stuff. A lot of this stuff I got on sales or deals, trade-ins. Like all my sockets, my Snap-on dealer was doing a socket for socket trade-in, and it was like $2.50 a socket or something like that. I can't remember exactly. So I got the full sets in those. Shallow, semi-deep, and deep. This is SAE metric on this side. These little 1/4 inches. These are Tech Pro. Anyways, it's what Advance used to sell. When they changed everything over to Die Hard, they were selling all their Tech Pro gear and all that stuff for stupid cheap. I think I paid for the SAE and metric set and these 1/4 inch sockets that came in a little box kit with the ratchet and everything. I want to say I paid like $8 or $10 for the whole thing. It was just stupid price, ridiculous. So that was a hell of a deal on those. This guy here, I'll order this special from Matco. It's a 15/16 extractor socket, I guess you could call it. It's on your Hustlers, a lot of your bigger mowers, the bolt to take off the blade is a 15/16. A lot of times, dirt and stuff, they'll just be rounded off. There won't be a bolt there left. So you pound this on there, take it off, a little bolt to push the old bolt back out, and that thing's come in handy a time or two. These are some bigger sockets. I think one of these is 1.5 inches. I think this one fits the nut on a Hustler mower to take the wheel to pull the hub off. I think it's that size. Can't remember. It's one of these back here in the back. It might be that 30mm. I don't know. I can't remember. There's those. This is a Snap-on 1.25 inch. This is for your Briggs to pull the nut off the top of the flywheel. 1/2 inch drive. I got a Matco torque wrench here. I bought it at the pawn shop. I gave $200 for it. I was there the day it walked off the truck, so I knew how old it was. I knew how many times it was used, and I just walked in the pawn shop and I was like, wow, yeah, I'll buy that. Give me that, yoink. This little guy here, I use him for doing brake jobs on a car or something, or a truck. In fact, I just did brakes on the Boss Man's truck probably a couple months ago. It came in handy. Gets in the wheel well to take your caliper off, and you know you got that curve to it. Just nice, gets it out of the way. That's for your brake calipers to press the calipers back in. That's a Lang 279. I bought that at my first job, George Tool. I think I paid like $15 for it. It was cheap. 1/2 inch ratchet, Snap-on. This is an old Proto ratchet. I've had this thing for forever. I still like using it. Yeah, that's just cool. Yeah, and then ratchets. Yeah, just Snap-on, Matco. I love Snap-on ratchets, just how they feel, how they work. But I like the flex head and the locking mechanism on a Matco. It's just superb. So there's 1/4 inch purple. Purple's my favorite color, in case you couldn't tell. This is a Mac one. It's pretty cool. I like how that little button does. But the only thing is, once it locks, it's there. You can't, you know, it's not like the Matco ones where you can have it flexing all the time, you know. just kind of locks in, locks where it's at. With snap-on, I did these little guys. Oops. That's a 1/4-inch ratchet with a 1/4-inch head, and that one's got a 3/8. I had to replace a water pump on a Toyota Camry, I think, or Toyota Corolla, one of the two, and that thing came in clutch. That was freaking amazing. It got in tight spots, and I was able to get everything out. So yeah, there's those. This is another one I did with a Matco. This is a 1/4-inch Matco lock and flex head. I got this because I can put a. This is a Tech Correct from Advance. Spark plug socket. You know, get an engine, pull the spark plug out, take the handle, stick it in the spark plug hole, turn the engine to TDC. So it's kind of like a one-stop tool there. That's awesome. That's probably my favorite ratchet I use every day out of all these. Just mainly that one. Over here, extensions, 3/8. These are 1/4-inch. I got those snap-on. They were on a deal. It was like, I think you bought these, you got those free or something. I think I bought that at a yard sale. It's just a really long 1/4-inch. I gave like $5 for that. It's like, ooh, that's nice. Blink. These are the what are these? The OX? No, the Power Built that Advance sold. This ratchet's really nice. But Advance sold these for a while, and they were way overpriced. These things were like $140, I think. They're supposed to be like the close tolerance sockets for rounded stuff and whatever. They were here 2 months ago. These were on sale for like nothing. I think they were like $20. I walked into my local Advance, and luckily I was in there and they had a set, and I was like, I want those. I'm gonna get those. Yoink. They came home with me, so they just kind of hide under these so nobody sees them, nobody knows they're there. These are Allen's. I got these when Advance was doing the sale on their gear wrench and stuff. This is a full set. See their gear wrench. SAE metrics over here. I think I want to say I gave like $5 a set for those, which was ridiculous. Then these are the external Torx 1/4-inch sockets, and they're made by Titan. And I think you can buy these at O'Reilly's. I think O'Reilly sells those, but those are really good, really great. Little emergency tin, little gag there. Fingernail polish. Get you a bright color if you're working on cars or engines or anything. This is just really good for timing marks, to mark something. Or, if you're, let's say you're tightening a bolt, you torque it to 140 foot-pounds, and then you got to tighten it an extra 90 degrees. Okay, you can mark your socket, you can mark where everything lines up and turn it 90 degrees, and you know where you're at. So something bright, cheap, it's always good to have. A little bit of fishing reel oil there. I put that in my ratchets if they start getting stiff. Really good oil for them. These are, zoom in there. Wow, look at that. Would you just look at it? 100th anniversary. Woo. Okay. These are the Matco RBRT, or OptiGrip, I think is what they call them. Extractors. These are the best freaking extractors out there. Comes with left-hand drill bits. Find out your size. Drilling your bolt that's broke off. This is a spring punch, center punch, and these things, when you put that on something and you smack it, it puts a big ass freaking hole in it. So that's the best center punch. It's way better than this. I bought this first, then I got that one. But best freaking extractors out there. Don't waste your time or don't waste your money on it. Just buy those. They work. First time I used them, no fuss. Bolt came right out. They're a little steep. I think they're like $350, $360, something like that. They're $400. They're expensive, but damn worth every penny. I bought these off of one of my guys' trucks, and I'm not going to say what I gave for these, but they were brand new and never been used. And hey, you know anybody wants to buy these? And yeah, how much you want for them? He gave me a price. Here they are. Yeah, stupid price on those. New, they're really not cheap, but damn good deal on those. And those are extractors. Basically, those are the same as, this guy here. Same thing. For a rounded bolt, hammer those on, take them right out. These are spark plug thread inserts, and I just buy these kits from Amazon. I think they're 15 bucks a kit, except it doesn't come with the socket and it doesn't come with the drill bit. This is what size is this? I cannot remember. A 9/16. I think it really calls for like a 21/64. I think is what the bit is supposed to be for these, or for the tap. This was really like the frog hair size down, to be kind with words. But drill if you got a spark plug hole that's cross threaded, whatever, that'll drill it out. That'll tap your threads. Put this on a spark plug, screw it in, put a little bit of red bolt locker on there. Bam, done. And this is I think this is an OEM socket. No, this is a Expert, so it's from Mac, 21 millimeter, and that fits the head of this. So yeah, drilled a hole there, put that in, just kind of keep it all together, all one little thing. Another place to go if you want to get some pretty decent tools for cheap prices is Ross. Ross has a lot of good stuff most of the time. I paid, I think, 14 bucks for these. 14, 15 bucks. They're Vaco. So Vaco is the same brand as Klein. Which Home Depot sells Klein and stuff, but this is kind of like the automotive line of Klein. These are flip sockets. So 15, 13. This is just good to carry around somewhere. If I have to go pull a bunch of crap off something, I'll, grab this, go where I got to go, instead of, oh, hey, I'm going to take this 10 mil, that mil, that mil. Just basically that'll get them all. To be honest with you, I don't really use it, because now most of the time what I use is, I got these snap-on rails. They're magnetic, and oh, I need 13. Oh, I need 12. Oh, hey, look, here's 10. That's easier. I can stick it on a mower somewhere, whatever. It's half the time that works. Another thing I got these from my Snap-on dealer. He was doing a damn good deal on these one day too. So I said, do I really need them? No, not really. But low profile. Those things are really cool. Why did I get them? I have no idea. Believe it or not, my brother-in-law, he borrowed these to get up under the dash, I think on a Impala or some kind of Chevy, to get the blend door actuator out, and it just went right in there and just took it out. It was freaking amazing. So he was like, I'm glad you got those. Yeah, I'm glad I got them too, but some of the stuff I get, I don't know why, I just get it because I want it, I like it. Like this is a 7/16 double square socket from Snap-on. It's for these old plugs. It's not a hex or a 12 point, it's a double square, so it's an 8-point socket. There's that one. I think this one here is a KT Pro that I got from the place I used to work at, George Tool, years ago. This is a 10. This will fit a lot of your smaller, like pressure washers and stuff like that don't have a drain plug, or that have the square drain plug. That'll fit those. Fits a lot of your small engine brigs. So that fits those. Then I got these. I saw these on the truck, and I don't have the complete set in these yet. I'm just kind of getting them one at a time. Extra long sockets. That's a 10. There's what sizes are these? So this is, no, that's a, yeah. So 8, 10, 11, and I think this is 14. Yeah, 14. believe it or not, I've used all those. These, I bought these from Mac. They're 1/4-inch drive wobble sockets. And I think it's, I want to say it's 4mm. 5mm. I thought it was 4, I'm sorry. 5 all the way up to 15, I think. Yeah, 5 all the way up to 15. No skips. Those were really nice. And then I had these 2 snap-ons first, a 8 and a 10. And then I got these off the Mack truck. They were under 200. It wasn't a bad deal for those. Those are really nice. Well worth the money on those. This is probably the most expensive thing in this drawer. This is a snap-on digital torque wrench. Oh, that thing's freaking awesome. You know, it was 700 plus. Was not cheap. But I had an old split beam, and the split beam, it got to where I couldn't trust it. I'd set it to 60 foot-pounds or 30 foot-pounds, and I know I was going well into 80 foot-pound range, just feeling, yeah. Couldn't trust it no more. And then my dealer also had these batteries. They're USB-C rechargeable, and they're Coast. And I think this wrench takes like 3 of them. So, yeah. But that thing is wicked cool. It's expensive. I could have probably bought the Harbor Freight one for 1/4 of the price, but whatever. There's that. Good and reliable. I bought these at a pawn shop. I don't know why. The same pawn shop that I got that torque wrench from, the 1/2 inch. They're spark plug sockets, but they got like teeth on them. I don't know why. They're just weird. They look neat. I think they were like $10. That's kind of cool. I like those. Yeah, yoink. Okay, there they are. These are a set of 3 of these. If you got like a pipe inlet or something in a Chevrolet 350 or whatever, or any kind of engine, this will go in, and if you watch, as you tighten or as you loosen it, watch that little gray piece. See how it comes out? Here, you just hold that still. See, as you loosen, this piece comes out, so it's like oblong. So it'll come out and it'll grab the inside of it and, you know, turn it out. So that's really cool. I thought those were pretty neat. I bought those from Advance. I think they're made by PT or something. I don't know. This is pretty neat here. This is goes in an air hammer. It's a Blue Point. And I know you can get, I think Easy Red or whoever sells the 2-piece set with the 3/8 and the 1/2 inch. I just wanted the 3/8. I didn't want the 1/2 inch. You put it on your, got to put it on your chrome sockets because there's no other way, you know. Then you get your wrench on there and your air hammer, and it's like an impact without having an impact. That will actually, what this does is this will more beat the bolt loose versus an impact hammers the bolt loose. So this will vibrate the threads inside if there's something loose to try to, you know, get that material loose inside there versus, you know, bop, 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 like an impact does. This is Icon Harbor Freight. I always have to screw it back together though. That's the only thing I don't like about this. But I use this. It's a flip socket. I think it's 3/4 and 13/16. Yeah. A lot of your lug nuts on mowers or cars even. Just hold it there or use my impact, and I can hold this and it spins. So I thought that thing was pretty cool. I bought one for sale. But yeah, that. There's an Icon 1/2 inch breaker bar down there, which I very seldomly ever use. So yeah, this guy was pretty cool. I walked on the truck one day and I saw this. I said, you know, that's really cool. If you ever wanted just a flex head, hey, look, you got a flex head now. Or, hey, you wanted like a crow's foot style ratchet, you know, hey, look, you got that now. So anyways, that was pretty neat. I like that. I grabbed that. This is a socket. I made this for it's just a 1/2-inch Craftsman socket chrome for the temperature sensors that go on the head on a Kawasaki. Yeah, I need to replace one. I didn't have I want to get the line sockets. They're like that, but they're more, you know, cut and everything. Anyways, I'm ordered a set of those from Matco, so I'll have those at some point. But yeah, so there's those. There's a 3/4 spark plug socket. Let's say these are all Tech Pro, Tech Correct. These things are cool because they don't, you know, it's built in. These guys are nice. I like Snap-on's little handles because you can take your ratchet and stick in the back. So that's really cool there. That's worth the money. I think I want to say these things are like 20-something bucks a piece. Short one, long one. There's a 3/8 driver. I bought that when I first started working here because, hey, that's cool, I'm gonna need that. I've probably never used it. A lot of the stuff in here is stuff I bought. I don't know why I got it. Mostly just, hey, that's cool, I like that, I'm gonna buy that. Oh, that was dumb. But this is I like these Snap-on extensions. I just have this one though, but it's a wobble, and then if you press it in again, it's a straight. So those things are pretty cool. And I got a 3/8 and a 1/4 inch in those. Let's see, what else is up here, Bob? I think that's about the end of that. Little Snap-on flex there. Those things are really nice. This is a Snap-on torque wrench, click type, inch pounds, but with a 3/8 head in it. That thing's really, really nice. Another thing, if anybody has these kind of torque wrenches, always, every single time, zero them back out. Don't put them in your drawer, set on a torque. It ruins them. They're cooked after that. These are Snap-on torques. I say buy these. They're worth money. They're better built material, and they're lifetime warranty. But I've hardly ever had any of the. I think I've had one of these break, and it was a T27, and it was a bolt that just would not come out. But I just welded a nut to it and took it out that way, and that worked. But those are well worth the money. Yeah, these are 1/4 inch. You know, metric. Like I say, everything over here is metric. That's all SAE. These are tap sockets, and I'll show you what these do in a little while. These are Matco. These were pretty expensive. I think these were like 80-something bucks. Well worth it. Yeah, little stubby guy there, little driver. I just thought that was pretty cool. I liked it. So yeah, that's the top drawer. Another good, nice thing to have is a 15/16. This is Snap-on. Part number is, just in case anybody wants to know, is IMF 300, and it's a 15/16 socket, but it's 3/8 drive. That's good for changing your blades out on a lot of your mowers, unless it's a stupid John Deere. But yeah, so there's that drawer. I don't know if I missed anything, but if anybody has any, you know, questions about any of this, whatever, let me know. I'll answer more questions. I did see this socket back here. This is, so I used to do a guy's trucks on the weekends, and I would go and pull the plugs out the rear ends, put oil in them, you know, do whatever it needed. This is another double square socket that would fit the plugs in the rear ends on Peterbilt's, Freightliners, whatever. I don't do that no more, but there's a socket in it. That was the whole reason why I bought the 1/2-inch ratchet too. But anyways, yeah, so there's that. Okay. Yeah, I think that about covers up that drawer pretty much. I mean, for the most part. It's just sockets, ratchets. Yeah. So there's that. Now we'll go down to the next drawer, which is the wrenches. All right, anyways, had to take a little potty break there. Sorry about that. So, next drawer. This is wrenches. Oh. All right. So, gonna go a little faster. You know, mainly the sockets is the main thing. These are Tech 10s. I bought these at a yard sale for 30 bucks for those. Like I say, a lot of this shit, excuse me, pardon my language, a lot of the stuff, I'll buy at yard sales and stuff like that versus, you know, if I can, but a lot of it's half and half. So, yeah, there's those, you know, crow's feet. These are Sunex. I bought these at the same yard sale. I think I paid 20 bucks for those. This is pretty cool here, just a little Craftsman. I think it's for like sinks and everything, but believe it or not, it comes in handy on something you gotta, if you're trying to hold a bolt somewhere with an impact or something like that, you know, that's really nice. That's come in handy a lot. Here's a Mountain. This is a 10 and an 8. And this is really good on the Kawasaki engines for the oil drains because it gets down in there and it's reversible. It's pretty neat. Here's a Machinist crescent wrench. This thing, I've used this thing a lot too. This thing's pretty cool. It's also a hammer. One of those is really good to have. Stuff like that. It's really good if you're, what I use that for a lot is if I'm trying to bend something back out. Because it's that 90 degree versus, you know, a regular adjustable wrench. Which I got this one from Advance like 15 years ago. Had that for forever. It's pretty cool. It's a pipe wrench on the other side. This comes all the way out. A chain wrench. That's good for exhaust pipes, stuff like that. Oil filter wrench. This thing's really kind of dookie. I don't really use it that often. Same deal here. This is just cute. I liked it. 8 and 10. And it folds. But yeah, so there's those wrenches here. These, I got these the same way I did the sockets. These are Snap-on 100th anniversary. So I don't know if you can see that very good there, but see that? Yeah, there you go. Oh, these things are sexy. Whoa. There you go. All right. Nice. So yeah, there's those. And how I have my wrenches set up is I have a regular wrench. The next one will be backwards. So like that, and it'll be a gear wrench. So 2 10s, you know, they're all like that. So you got 6, 8, and unfortunately I don't have a snap-on in those, but 10, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, and 16. Then you got these little flat wrenches here, which that's good for a lot of stuff. If you're in somewhere where you can't really, behind a fender cover or something on a mower, you know, like I know the Hustler stand-ons, the battery bolt's kind of a pain in the butt to get to. That's good for those. These are small wrench sets, Craftsman. I bought these from Ace Hardware years ago. Those are nice. These, I bought these also when Advance was doing the sale on everything. These are gear wrench, so they're not the Tech Correct or Tech Pro. They're the actual gear wrench ones. These are line wrenches, but they're, you know, ratcheting. So those are in there. Like I said, those are really cool. I got both of those sets. I paid $10 a set on those, and I had the metrics and the SAEs in those. So I have both of those. These also came from Advance. These were $5. I said, you know, what the heck? Yeah, I'll buy them. I think they're Autocraft. No, they're Tech. Yeah, they're Tech Correct. Okay. But yeah, I bought those. Okay, $5 a set on those. Yeah. There's the other set. Set there. Little small wrenches. The same thing over here. Now these start from small to big. These are big to small. so they're backwards. These, the trays they're sitting in, you used to be able to get this tray at Harbor Freight. It was a whole big black plastic thing that just fit in your box. So I got one of those and I just cut it up. Works. Here's the little small wrenches. These were part of that tray too. These are the same way. I think the small wrenches though, these are Harbor Freight cheapies. Yeah, Pittsburgh's. Yeah. I don't really use them that often, but when I do need one, they're there. And then the other is a gear wrench. So there's those. This is something I've always wanted. It's an O2 sensor wrench. That's a snap-on. Thing's pretty cool. I had to replace some cats on a Land Rover. So that was pretty cool. I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna buy that. And yeah. This is a wrench for, I think a Detroit diesel engine or something. I don't know. But anyways, this is good for the hustlers, the older ones, where you got to get that one bolt when you're making the new kits. And you got to get that one bolt to stay up in there on the back side for the brackets. That just reaches right up in there and holds it. It's pretty cool. So there's that. No. Blue Point oil filter wrench. This thing's really nice. It just works. These are the Nipex adjustable wrenches. Worth every penny. Best. And here's, you know, I have all of them. Pretty much those sizes. 4 different ones. Yeah. And then an old filter strap wrench. So anyways, that's the wrenches. You know, not much. A little bit there. A little odd and end stuff. I think this is an 11/32 or something like that. Yeah. This is a little nut holder. This thing's pretty cool. It goes on the back of your wrench and it helps you hold your nuts. So it goes on there like, whoop. A little bit of a pain to get on there sometimes. So yeah, it goes on there like that, and it's a magnet so your nut won't fall out your wrench. I think it's pretty neat. And it's you know, fairly cheap. I think it's like $5 or $6 from Snap-on. My dealer could get them. I don't know if everyone else's can, but yeah, let me get a couple of those. And one year we did those for everybody for Christmas. It was a good little stocking stuffer. Part number there is a YA207 nut holder. You got it? Do you got it? Wow. Yeah, like I say, good little stocking stuffer gift for somebody, you know. Easy money, cheap, good stuff. Uh-oh, let me put my wrenching backwards. I think that was me. This is kind of cool. Just a long 3/4. Weird. I don't even know the brand. Drop forged. Yeah. Anyway, so there's those. Yeah. Go a little shot there. All right. We'll go one more down, bub. To the plier drawer. All right. Yeah, so there's a lot here. These are Snap-on plier racks. Hands down, I think these are the best plier racks out there. I love these. Most of these are Snap-on. I don't know why I have those. I got them. They came in a set, I think. Same with these needle nose. Here's a pair of Advance double, Call of Duty hoodie. These are hose pliers. Here, I got a full set of those. These are Mac. So there's those. I got the set of those. And I put O-rings on the back of my pliers to keep them closed, so they're not flinging open. These are the famous nickel grabbers from Snap-on. Yeah, everybody, well, Harbor Freight has those. No, they're not the same. They're nowhere near the same. There's all 3 of those. Yeah, Harbor Freights are cheaper. No comparison. And these are the Nipex twin grips. And they got that little jaw there on the front that will grab a screw. I've used these on carburetors for the screw for the bowl on your Briggs and a lot of stuff. It's hard to get off. The screw's stripped out most of the time. That'll just grab it, knock it loose. All right, turn it out. These little fellas here, a lot of times I just throw these in my pocket and walk around with them. Knipex, best pliers ever made. And you know, I got the snap-on ones too because I was like, wow, these things are really cool. They no button. It's pretty neat. They grab too, but just the Knipex is way better. I bought these at Ace Hardware. I thought these were pretty cool. They were cheap. Weird little wrench fella things. Craftsman. They lock. I think I gave like $10 for those because they've been sitting on the shelf for 40 years. Nobody ever sold them. I got these at a Oriental store. These are nice for 2-cycle MSRs. Just anything, getting down in the gas tank and getting something out. They were a couple bucks. And of course, you always got to have forceps. I've got several different sizes. I think these are from Harbor Freight. These actually came from my doctor's office. I asked him if I could have them, and he was like, yeah, sure. So, okay, cool. Different sizes. I've just bought at yard sales, or a lot of times your like restaurant stores will have these in there fairly cheap. These are fuel line clamps. You know, you turn that down, it clamps it. You can buy those from Rotary for a decent price on those. Look at that, everything coming forward there. Oh, wow. Anyway, so there's those. Vice grips, long vice grips. I bought, these are, see, Olympia. This is the kind of stuff you can find at Ross. These are pretty cool. They're about $5 a piece. These are the snap-on hose clamp, plier ring-a-ding things, whatever you want to call them. Worth the money. I mean, you can get a Macro Matco too. They're basically the same thing. Oh, there's those. I was wondering why those were out. But anyways, these are clip pliers, and I think they're made by Gear Wrench. I got those from my Snap-on dealer. I bought these boogers at the same yard sale I bought the crow's feet at. $5. Hell yeah. Why? I don't know. But $5, I'm gonna let them stay there. That's for, this is for the cylinders that like to leak down on Chevys and whatnot. You know, your Chevy Suburbans with the big back door or the hood that holds the rod open. So there's those little grabbers. Getting down fuel tank stuff. Then I got wire strippers over here mainly, automatic strippers, crimpers, cutters, little small cutters. I use those for fuel line. Bolt cutters, Knipex. I got the, I think these are from Mac. Yeah, but they're the electrical connector pliers. So I got those, and I got the little 45, 90 degree, whatever you want to call them. There's those. These guys came from Mac. They're pretty neat. A little 3-piece set in those. Yeah, a little fuel line disconnector tool there. That was from like Napa or somewhere. Anyways, snap ring pliers. And to me, my personal opinion, Snap-on's got the best one because they're reversible with the click of a button. Done. Got those. I had those cheap pair. I was using them and the thing broke on me, smacked me in the arm, cut my arm up, really pissed me off. So yeah, anyways, called my dealer up. Hey, I need these. Let me get those. Fuel line cutters. These are nice. These are Blue Point. What's nice about these is keep extra blades in the handle. So those are really nice. You know, your steel tubing cutter, Taiwan, you know, Chinesium. I got some safety wire here, and these are actually military. These are not the Harbor Freight. These are actual military grade from the base. Safety wire pliers. So, yeah, a buddy of mine gave me those. Thought those were really cool. And I've always just left them in here. And I've used them a time or two holding stuff together. But these are actually whatever those clip pliers, but these are constant tension ones, so those are really nice. And these are just weird little pliers. They open straight. Weird. Bought those at a yard sale. I think I gave like $1 a piece for these. I think these are for hog rings. I don't know. Got a little ball in there for cutting too. So yeah, anyways, those are pretty cool. Alright, so there's those. Now Bubby will come to this drawer. Okay. This is basically a piston drawer. Got a snap-on piston hammer in there. Your ring compressors. There's another, several different kinds. Here's a valve spring compressor for small engines. There's a piston groove cleaner. There's some whatchamacallit stones, honing stones, I think is whatever they're called. This is for your piston rings to pull them apart and pull them off, which sometimes I use that, sometimes I don't, depends. Valve lapping compound, doing valves if I have to. Feeler gauges, on-end stuff. I'll use this for filing down piston rings sometimes if I have to get a little bit off. This is another for the older Briggs and Stratton engines where the valves are on the side there to do the springs. That'll go in there and get those. These are for these rings here. They crimp down and hold on. Those are Blue Point. Snap-on digital feeler gauge. Or not feeler gauge. Calipers. Digital calipers. Those are really nice. Those cost a pretty penny too. And then, snap-on ones. Put that in there, right? And then here's just a pair of regular ones that I use these more than those. Just know how to read them. So yeah, there's that. Well, valve tool. Old school one. There's those. So then we'll go to this drawer. And this is all my hammers. I don't know why I bought this. I saw it at Harbor Freight and it just dumb impulse buy. It's a tack hammer. I mean, I'll never use that in my life. Snap-on hammer. Don't buy the Icon Harbor Freight hammers. They are junk. They will wear your arm out. They're stupid. Get you a good hammer. Same with the rubber mallet. Snap-on. I have that one. I have those two. Here's a snap-on little pry bar screwdriver thing. There's my little pecker. Every mechanic has to have a little pecker. But here's a bronze hammer. It doesn't spark. There's those. Old slide hammer here. Different kind of punches and stuff. I got shafts, rods. I keep some of these little valves off small engines. If I have to knock a bolt out of something, a socket or something, that just fits down in there, knocks it out nice. I made this hammer. This is my favorite hammer. I just use this more than anything. It's a ratchet handle on a ball peen head. Little punch set. Cowhawk. I bought these from the same guy I bought the clips from. I think they were like 18 bucks for those. Punch holder from Mac. Here's a punch for doing, this is really nice for bearings and spindles. It's got that weird curve on the edge of it, so it's got a lot more room to bite. If you're getting bearings out of spindles that'll wear out, that thing is stupid nice. Well worth the money. It was like 30 something bucks. Mac seal puller. This is a little Craftsman hammer. I found that at pawn shop. I think I get like $5 or $6 for that. There's a Mac slide hammer tool puller set. And then I got this one at the pawn shop too. This is a Craftsman hickory handle. This thing is nice. It's on par with the Harbor Freight one. They're cheap enough. Those are good hammers. Just don't get those. Those are Harbor Freight's junk. There's a little battery terminal crimper, and I guess I could show you these. These are gasket punches with a little sharpener reamer thing. Yeah. Texan impact driver. So yeah, believe it or not, I use a lot of this stuff weekly, daily. Here's all the air powered stuff. Some of the stuff I use, a lot of it I don't. There's a cutoff tool. I still use that. There's my air hammer. That's a M7. I got this from my first job I worked at, and this thing, it's for what it is. It's a beast. It's pretty badass. This is a snap-on. Water hose goes here, air hose goes there, so it's like pressurized water for your cooling system or something, flushing it out or whatever, or if there's a little end for giving you a flat little spray of water. I thought it was pretty cool. I use it a lot. A 1/2-inch air impact DeWalt. I bought this at Advance. It was $50. It was sitting on the end of the shelf on sale. I guess nobody wanted it, nobody bought it, or they ordered it for somebody. Anyway, so that's all mainly air stuff. Nothing really much going on in there. Come over to this side. So here's all like electrical diagnostics and stuff. Little torches. Here's a starter button. There's an old school Briggs. This thing is cool. RPM gauge. That thing's really neat. It's just old OEM Briggs. There's that. This is a tachometer I use for trying to set the idle or setting the full throttle on a Kawasaki and stuff, because they're only supposed to be like 3,400, 3,500 RPM or something like that. I think 37 max. Test light. I kind of rigged this one. This is an old gear wrench. No, KD tools. But that's my ground. So it goes on anything. I ain't got to worry about that crap falling off. This is really good if you're working on generators. Get it running, plug it in. You can see if you got voltage or not. That's nice to have. Diodes for when I do the Kohler mowers a lot, the Kohler engines. I'll take that time delay box off, get 2 regular coils put on it, but you got to put a diode in line, otherwise they'll both cancel each other out. Terminal toolkit. This is a Blue Point. These are stupid knives, worth every penny. I use these a lot when I'm having to make harnesses for stuff. This is a digital test light. It's stupid. I bought it years ago. I haven't used it not one time, and it just sits in here. I bought that at my first job. But don't ever buy one of those. It's not worth the money. Just get your regular test light with a light in it. The ones at Harbor Freight are phenomenal. I just gave my nephew Brenton one. They work. These are IPA diamond tip terminal cleaners. Those are some money there spent. Those are nice. These are fuse terminal cleaners, and these are from Matco. They don't say Matco, but that's where they're from. They were like $15, I think. They're fairly cheap. Mac Tools battery tester. That's really nice. It'll test cranking amps and all that, cold cranking amps and everything. That's like $100 and something bucks. That's nice. This is a oscilloscope, pocket size. This thing is super cool. For injectors and stuff, you know, you can read the whatchamacallit, sine wave. That's really cool. I bought that when I bought this Fenrisi, F-N-I-R-S-I, Fenrisi, and this is a really, really good voltmeter. It's auto, but you know, voltage, ohms. diode sound. I forget what the other one is, but really, really nice. It'll hold your data. You can log it. You can do live data. It's just weird. But mainly I got it because it's rechargeable. I know we're having a sale on this, and so I bought that. And the little oscilloscope is made by Finercy as well. And it comes with all the little ground strap and all that connectors and everything. So that was really cool. I like that. Snap-on voltage tester, you know, without grounding and all that. So there's those. Put that back there. This is an old amp clamp gauge, and it's an able one, made in Japan. A.W. Sperry Industries. That's nice. That's worth a couple bucks. Not a lot, a little bit. So anyways, that's pretty much like the little diagnostic drawer. We do have a Kawasaki scanner and brick scanner and stuff like that, but it's just not in here. This is a parasitic drain tester that I got from Mac. I bought that when I bought the compression tester that came with that free, I think. Heat shrink, stuff like that. So, oh no, don't do that. Get that back in there. Oh, that ain't what to do it. Oh, dang it. Of course it would do that, right? Alright, there we go. Finally, okay. Here is this drawer, and basically I keep my grease gun in here. There's one of those little whacker packer things for grease fittings. I forget what that's called. There's a screwdriver I got to turn back in that because I thought I did that the other day. I did not. Here's my knife for cutting watermelon or whatever else. When I saw this one at the pawn shop, it was like $5. So I was like, hey, that's kind of nice. I don't know why in the hell I bought that, but whatever. There it is. Pokey things. So there's those. This is a grease gun for my ratchets that I have from Snap-on. I'll show you those in a little bit here. And a little needle goes on the grease fitting. Yeah, so that's basically just that, just grease gun in there. All right, now we come to this drawer. This is where I had some of my snacks. Matco jump box, the Versa Pro 3. That thing works every time, no complaints there. Little backup battery packs for USB and stuff. You know, battery chargers for my Snap-on stuff. Lights. I have another one of these at home somewhere. Gotta find it. But yeah, nothing much in there. Just, you know, power drawer. Old toaster style battery tester. And here's the expensive drawer. Alright, so we got the Snap-on 3/8 and the 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch bit driver, 3/8, the Snap-on 1/2 inch. That thing's a freaking beast. Snap-on cock gun. This here little fella is an air compressor for your tires and whatnot. Under this is the Snap-on screwdriver, screw gun thing, brushless, and all this, everything in here is brushless. Extra batteries. I have 2 of these batteries, and I have 1 extra 18-volt battery. Then there's the Snap-on brushless 1/4 inch, and I have the Snap-on brushed 3/8. That's the only thing that's brushed, and I prefer the brushed one over the brushless. It's got a little more power, a little more ass to it. So there's all that. Get this back in here. That's the only thing that's kind of aggravating is I wish there was another big drawer in this box that had more organization to it. But DeWalt drill, you know, nothing fancy there. So there's all that. At the bottom there, I have a box with hog rings in it. All right, now we come to this drawer, and this is just the, you know, the junk drawer. Advil 2, and mechanic's best friend there. some, I think this is allergy relief, non-drowsy. Yeah, so 9mm 380 ammo. Gotta have that. Pins, odd end stuff, electrical tape, ratchet rebuild kits, ratchet head swap kits, batteries, more rechargeable batteries that are AAAs and AA's. You know, junk drawer, pretty much. Just whatever goes in here. Yeah, just a junk drawer. Then we come down to screwdriver drawer. So, back in the back is pry bars. These are spring tools. This one's a must. This one, probably not so much, but I got this one first, and then I found out they made a bigger one. My dealer didn't even know they made a bigger one, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep those on the truck. That's worth the money. The springs on Hustlers for the drive belt. That's what those are good for. Amazing. Little small magnet, Matco. And I think this one's a Blue Point flexible magnet. Little 90-degree screwdrivers. You know, I think these are like Tech Pro. Yeah, I gave like $2 for those when Events was selling. This is for an oil drain. OTC on cars and stuff. Feeler gauges. This is a 5 to 7, and this is a 4 to 6. And really, 4 to 6 is on almost every engine for 4 thousandths on the intake, 6 thousandths on the exhaust. That's just, you know, go to. Spark plug gapper, snap on. And this thing is the coolest. So this is snap on, but it's a seam ripper for your wire loom, split loom. Just, but I know I've bought seam rippers in the past. They're cheap, but this thing's like 12 bucks, 15 bucks, and it's a lifetime warranty. So that's worth that. Buy once, cry once. Done. Over here, I got JIS screwdrivers. These were made by Vessel. I wish these were the ones that torqued when you hit them, you know, but they're not. But I think those are the Jadora or whatever they're called. These things are amazing. I can go to a carburetor, twist it, and pick the carburetor straight up. Really, really good screwdrivers. Over here, here's the small little Phillips. There were Torx drivers up here. I don't have those. I think I gave those to my dad. Picks, spoons for O-rings and seals. The best screwdriver in the world is Craftsman. These, they just work. They're plentiful. You can get them anywhere. Mirrors, square and around. I got these little guys. I don't think you can get these anymore. I think these are discontinued. These are really cool. These are Blue Point, and they're flex head. And yeah, I'm just keeping those. So there's metric, Allen, and Torx. You know, metric, SAE, and Torx. I don't know. Quote me if I'm wrong. Maybe they still do, but I don't think they make those anymore. The little tiny itty bitty screwdrivers. I think I bought these from the dollar store. Indexing pry bar. That's a really nice pick from Snap-on. I think it's pretty beefy there. Little small picks. Different ones. I got to get that one replaced. The tip is kind of foobarred on that. Yeah. And this is my everyday drawer pretty much. So those Snap-on ratchets I showed you earlier, the 1/4-inch one with a 1/4-inch and the 3/8, there's also a 1/4-inch bit drive, so the bit can go in there. Yeah. And they're all three the same ratchet, just different internals. So I got that one, and I got that one. Snap-on 3/8, but with the, or 1/4-inch with the, you know, the different kits. These are the same power built Allens. These were $5 a set when all that stuff went on sale, so I bought those. These, I already did a video on these. These are from Napa. I think it was less than $30 for both of those. So that was a damn good deal on those. Box cutter. This is the small 8mm, I think, compression tester from Husqvarna. And this one, I made this one actually. That one just, it works, and then, so there's those. This is a Mac bit set. There were RBRT bits in here, but I put these in there since then. All the RBRT ones are over here in these little pockets over here. Those are well worth the money. Mac electronic screwdriver. I haven't gotten the Snap-on ones yet. That'll be the next purchase I get, I think. That thing's pretty cool. But yeah, I want to get the Snap-on 1/4-inch ones. I think that'll be the next thing. This is good to put on a spark plug if you're working on something. Just, manually start your spark plug without screwing up the threads. Mac Hoe tools. Coil tester. There's my other little pecker. Thing's cool. We got piston holder. Another piston holder that's adjustable, so you can make that fit whatever. This is Kawasaki tool for adjusting the valves. It'll hold the little square head, and then this is to turn the nut. That thing's really cool. Before I had my Matco ratchet, I kind of use this. This is screwing the engine and tells you TDC. Weird little thing. Snap-on valve stem tool. Matco digital tire gauge. There's a Mac valve stem puller. These are the Matco little clip puller things. There's that one, and then there's the new one where it's the clip tool and the Kniffy. Oh. Yeah, so there's those. I find myself often, I just use I keep this one around on me. That's just the one I use every day. But anyways, there's those. These are from Mac. These are little roll pin punches. These things are nice. I've had to use these sometimes on the carburetors. That little rod that holds the float will not come out. That's the same size, and it just taps right on out. So there's those. They're different sizes. Feeler gauge for adjusting the valves. These are little tiny drill bits for like cleaning your carburetors and stuff. That's what I use them for anyway. Little 1/4-inch bit adapter. That's a drill chuck. Thing's pretty cool. That's a Snap-on. That's a CTS 561. Thing's pretty cool. Lock and bit holder. 1/4-inch. I wish they made a 3/8 one, but they don't. Oh, then here's a spark plug tester. There's that one. I don't like those, as a lie to you. I use this one because if that spark don't bridge that gap, most likely the coil's not any good. There's a carburetor compression tester there. Compresses or puts pressure in your carburetor, test your diaphragm. This is some weird voodoo magic here. This is actually a coil tester too, and this thing will like light up. I don't know how the hell it does it. It's weird voodoo stuff in that thing. Clutch tool. This is a HIPAA kit. Some of those are missing. They're in my other little toolbox over there. So these are the ones I don't use that much. There's those. This fella is nice. This is a RPM gauge, a digital tack for chainsaws. You just hold it on the spark plug and it reads. You can buy that from Rotary. I'm not going to say the price, but yes, that's available from Rotary. Very decent price on that. So if you know a dealer, look into that. I think that's about that. with that on 90 degree, little stuff like that. But yeah, there's those. These are, I'm thinking about, these are Snap-on long torques. These things are worth their money. Well worth their money. They're about $10 a piece. And come down here, and this is all thread repair tool. There's some OEM. No, these are made by Grip. These are hole saws. Here's another one of those spark plug kit things. Let's say those are, they're about 15 bucks from Amazon. And I always have a backup one. Some dies, threaded helicals. This is just a cheap little tap set from, I think, Advance. Nothing much there. These, I made these here. This is a biggest nert with a bearing welded to it. The internals out of the bearing. This fits a seal. That'll fit over the shaft, but I can get these two together and I can drive in a seal at the bottom of an engine. So that's just something, kind of I made. Or this will drive in certain seals too. But this is for the bigger seals. That's probably one of my favorite things I made there. Just works. Snap-on tape measure. It's really cool. Reads both sides. Like that. Yeah. And then you got your rock stars for dressing your stones on your grinders. Step bits, sets. I never knew my real bit. Two different sets there. A little cheap set. I think these were Tractor Supply. They were like 15 bucks a set years back. Little sparker for, I guess that one's no good. Gotta turn it and put anything on it. For lighting the torches over there, this is a belt tension gauge, which I'm not really a big fan of that thing, but there it is. Seems pretty cool, crescent, square, with a long thingy on it. Little extension there. That's pretty cool. Little bag of brushes, stapler. There's some files in there. Little brush. Mechanics stethoscope. Thing's pretty useful. Here's some clamps. These are tiny files. These are really nice. Bought these from a yard sale too. A lot of stuff I find at yard sales and everything. But Garden Valerie, I think. Yeah. Nice little set of files there. Some drill bits, some other miscellaneous bits. So I got to sharpen my other drill bits. These are very good gasket scrapers. You can sharpen them. They're cheap, they're plentiful. You can buy them about anywhere. I got different sizes in there. Just miscellaneous little flappy disc. Those, 2 more tape measures. This thing is really nice. Actually, this needs to go in a different drawer, but I use that for gaskets. Cut off wheels, stuff like that. Like I said, that's gonna move. Put that back there. And then we're at the final drawer. Yay! So these are little terminals, wires, all kind of little different, little test leads, stuff like that. This is the rechargeable soldering gun. This thing's actually pretty nice. I want the latest one though. It's supposed to be a lot more powerful than that little guy. But yeah. It all just kind of fits in there together. Power probe. Definitely a good thing to have. I made that little tester thing up there before I got this. So, and then these are relay buddy, fuse buddy, and another relay buddy. But this is the bypass one. Then you read your amps. That's everything in here is worth the money. Definitely, especially that. So test relays, test your fuses, find out if you keep blowing fuses. What that'll do is it will. I can take the fuse buddy and I can say, okay, why am I pulling? Oh wow, I'm pulling 40 amps off of this circuit instead of, 5 or 10 amps. So that tells me something's grounding out there. This is a friend's knife. I got to sharpen that for him. Set that there. This is just a little cheap scanner. A little scan tool for car or whatever, recodes. OBD2 code reader. Good tire, whatchamacallit, fixer, holder, whatever set, steel. I think that's just a generic. There's some little chicken foot, some different bolts and stuff. Keep that in there. These are tools for adjusting coilovers on your side-by-sides and stuff. Nothing really fancy there, but might as well open it. Those little wrenches. See, nothing fancy. I think those are cheap. Those were like $10. Wherever I got those from. Oil filter wrenches. This thing is cool. If you ain't got one of those, you need to get you one of these. This will put a valve stem in your wheel without taking the tire off, and it'll pull the old one out. This is a AME tire valve tool, item 51025. I paid $10 for this one at a yard sale. These things are like $40, $50, somewhere around there. That's all that I yoink. I went home. All right. Basic fuel injection tester, because now everything's getting into fuel injected on mowers and crap, and it's stupid. So that's kind of a need kit. Not really, but it was if I bought this, I got these connectors free off of Mac. Okay, yeah, I could do that. When I got these, if I bought this, it came with a starter button for free. So this is a compression tester, and it's a Mac. It's a very good set. And I've thrown some different adapters and stuff in here, but you gotta have a good compression tester working on small engines. And over here, I've got, let's see, put that back there. Here's a fuel tank lock ring kit. And I actually got this because Bad Boys fuel lock rings, they're like a Chevrolet. They got that metal plate, so that saved the day. Let's see if I can remember how to get this dumb thing open. Yeah, there you go. It's a steel kit. There's a socket that fits. That's well worth the money there. Not that cheap, but well worth it. I'll save that for later. Here's a thread chaser kit from Snap-on, and everybody makes these. Matco, Lyle, Snap-on was around, and that's just a set that I got. So, not bad. Everybody needs one of those. It's well worth it. Just, you ain't necessarily got to buy Snap-on. This is a ATD quick change automatic transmission to engine oil pressure tester. So this is really nice too. That's a good kit. And I think my gauge is missing for some reason. That's nice. I got some bone picking to do with somebody. Somebody's got my old gauge. So anyways, that's that. Oh no, I know where the old gauge is. That's right, I know where it's at. We were using it a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And this is a kit that I made, which I got to replace some of these, but this is a side hobby. Lock picks. These are Sparrows. These are like the Bugattis of lockpicks. So that's something I do for fun. I'll see a lock or something at a yard sale or somewhere. Hey, how much you want for this? Oh, it doesn't come with a key. That's fine. I don't need a key. So yeah, there's that. Sorry it took a little while to do this, but it's a lot of crap to go through. And these two impact sockets, I just leave these up here because I grab those most of the time versus the chrome ones if I need something. But yeah, so that's that. And all of that. All right. Y'all shoot me any questions if you need to know anything. Like I say, you don't need to be stupid and be like me and spend all gobs of money, but this is what I wanted. This is what I got. There's other stuff here too. Like I got a parts cleaner over there. I'm working on setting up. It's just got crap on it, but yeah. By the way, the toolbox was a steal too. It was a repo, so I didn't pay the full 10 grand. But anyways, that's it. That's everything I use every day. Working on small engines and repairing engine rebuilds mainly, and just let me know if you have any questions.